doubters. Don't include that, by the way, please. Hey everyone, today's video is going to be a follow-up about the previous video that I made in regards to the Western Digital that had a bad preamp. A lot of the data recovery pros, they doubted the diagnostics that I made, how I could draw a conclusion just based on that power monitor that I was using. We're going to go in and just, do the work, do the head swap. Going forward, these videos that I'm going to be making, I'm going to make them PG-13. I noticed it's a bit different when, families and parents want to have their kids view these videos. So I am going to make it PG-13 just to honor the requests that I've been getting, and that way everybody's on the same page, everyone's happy, and there's no hard feelings or anything like that. So going forward, PG-13, promise. And yeah, let's get right into this guy. So these are the two donors that I have here. Before I go ahead and do the swap, I already did this. I tested this donor. So this is the donor that I will be using. And we want to make sure that it works, right? So I'm going to take it, test it again. I already did this, but I'm going to do it again. Not a problem. And I'm going to show you the current draw that it takes. So it's something very important because the patient has a very unique current draw, which was 2.5 amps with the patient PCB and the patient hard disk assembly. But it was taking almost 2 amps with the patient hard disk assembly and a donor PCB. So let's plug in our patient with the replacement PCB. So this is the patient with the donor PCB. Look at that. Look at the difference between the two. So that's the key difference, is with a different PCB, it was still drawing a high current. So let's plug this guy in there and let's see what it does. So I'm plugging it into SATA 1. I'm gonna load up power monitor first. There you go. So about let's say 85 amps, and then it smooths out into its standard, which is I think right now 20.21. I'm gonna go ahead and read the ID. Refresh it, make sure it's good. 0, and that is the last sector. So sector 0, last sector. Translator works okay. I've tested this again, no issues there. And let's power it down. All right, so again, I will be starting with the donor before I move on to the patient. The patient, I only opened up to make sure there was no platter damage. Kind of knew that, but didn't really do anything else yet to it. So this is sort of as we go type of thing. I have not done the head swap yet. I have not done any work to this drive yet, besides removing the top cover, inspecting the platters briefly. That's about it. Let's start with the patient. Let me grab some of my tools. Before I start, a couple of people were asking what tweezers these are. These are the Dumont tweezers. They're pretty expensive actually. So yeah, these are Dumonts. They're really good. I have these, and I have these in black. And these are the ones that are pristine. So these are my highly prized possession. So yeah, these are really, really good tweezers. They're not some eBay junk or Amazon junk. I think each pair was something like 60 bucks, some stupid number. All right, so before I begin, this is the donor that we will be using for the patient. So I will take out the headstock assembly from here, put it in the patient, for those of you just joining us. I already marked or matched the micro jogs on this. If you recall from the previous video that I made, micro jogs are the parameters for the head stack assembly to function correctly after being replaced. So you need to match them. And the micro jogs are found inside the ROM chip. Get you a better view there. The head swap on this hard drive is relatively simple, pretty straightforward. First, I want to inspect the platters for any debris. Some debris here and there, but nothing major. All right. Turn the light back on. So this is a 3-platter, 6-head drive. So let me get the comb for that. All right, so I'm gonna put the head comb in here. These head combs are from Apex Tool Labs. They're pretty good. They're not the best. Can't say they're the best, but they're the best bang for your buck in terms of price and whatnot. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I won't use the pin again to hold this in place. There's no need for that because the pressure from the head stack itself is going to keep the comb in place. You want to make sure the rubber gasket is properly placed before removing it, just in case. So I went ahead and put the comb in there, removed the connector for the head stack. Was having some issues with the focus of this camera, so I just went ahead and fixed that. I use pliers. If you guys remember my older video, I just used pliers to take this thing out, like so. And after that, you lift up. This drive does not have a screw holding it down. So after you remove the stopper, you can simply take out the head stack assembly. Like so. We're going to put the donor aside for now. I always visually inspect the coils here, make sure they're not nicked or anything like that before I put them in the patient, and they look good. So now on to the patient. Oh no, I'm humming. I think that's gonna piss some people off. All right, let me grab my head comb, BRB. All right, let's put this aside here. Pull this guy out. Sometimes you have to wiggle this out. Just hold it with your finger there. All right. Now, what I want to do is I want to inspect the patient headstock assembly under the microscope. So I'm actually going to head over to Lewis's room because he has a camera on his microscope and I don't. Man, this light looks so much better than the other. Little too yellowish, but yeah, that's better. So headstock assembly looks clean. Let me just use my eyes to inspect it. So head 0 looks okay. It's 2, 4. Let's flip it around.
I have 2 raindrop marks on my microscope lens. 3.
Okay. Head 1 has weird reflections on it, but it's okay. 3 is good, and 6 is good. Not sure if you guys are getting a good picture of this, but it's really hard to show this on camera.
Do you need more light?
But in the microscope, yeah, more light would be nice, but
Like if I can touch this. More HDR.
yeah, turn up HDR actually. Let's see. Come on, where'd you go? Where'd you go? There you go. And looks good. No debris anywhere on it. All right, so this is the patient headstock assembly. I just finished inspecting it under the microscope. Looks good. No debris whatsoever. No issues there. So we're gonna go ahead and mark it as P, just so you guys can keep track of which is which. And the donor I'm gonna go ahead and mark as D. I'm gonna set the patient headstock assembly aside. So this is the donor hard disk assembly. I'm sorry, this is the patient hard disk assembly, and the donors are going inside the patient right now. Okay, then we want to put the stopper back. First, you want to make sure this is all the way in, like so. Then we put the stopper back. All right. Put the 2 screws. Then we're going to take the magnet. Before I put the magnet, I like to make sure that the heads on there are free to move. And putting this magnet is a little tricky. If you have practice with it, usually you'll get it with time, but You don't want to nick these coils here, remember? So you have to be very careful. So what I like to do is I like to put one side in, hold it, and then drop it on the other side. So start here and then drop it on that side. Yeah, hopefully it's gonna go in without issues. So this corner, all right, I'm gonna keep it slow, like so. My glove got nicked. All right, there you go. Clean out the air. Turn off the light, inspect it with the green light. Platters have some debris on them. Let's see if we can do a little bit better with cleaning them. What I like to do is I like to hold the drive like this and just go around and try to clean it as much as I can. All right, let the air settle. Much better. Still in the top left there you have some debris, but okay. Make sure this moves. I don't really like the movement of this headstock assembly, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure it with a screw and then test the movement. Yeah, it's fine. Just without the screws being a bit strange with the movement. So you always got to make sure before you power this on, obviously you don't want to cause any catastrophic damage. Let's close this thing up. There you go. One thing I forgot to mention to you guys is you want to make sure the platters can spin freely. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, they do. I already checked it. I knew the platters can spin freely. But just for your viewing pleasure. Let's close this up. right. So this is ready to be plugged into PC3000. I have to put the donor PCB on there now. So the donor PCB has the ROM transferred over from the patient. I actually had to drill a hole in the patient PCB do some minor work to get access to the ROM on this thing. So yeah, this thing was shorted and relieved the short. Now we put in this patient, I'm sorry, this donor PCB now, which has patient ROM on it. Hopefully the camera is less shaky, but somehow I doubt that's the case. Just gonna grab some screws for it. All right, moment of truth. I am plugging this into SATA 1 on PC3000. So let's exit this utility. Load up power monitor. Well, start it first, then quickly load up power monitor. See the current draw there. Arced up and smoothed out. That's great news. All right, let's hit auto detect. This is okay for now, so we're gonna make sure that this is the same. So let's see, this is the 28, 27, 69. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and block. Do I have the ROM? Yes, I do. So I'm gonna go ahead and quickly here, block service area. No, we're gonna call this yes. All right, quickly restart the utility. Okay, so auto detect. Okay, so now we're gonna upload something called the loader, which is just a microcode to initialize the drive. So we're trying to initialize the drive at this point. And let's do it from the backup of let's see, so 2008. I'm gonna quickly try to grab the loader from a different hard drive. So let's leave this one, let's go to 3. some other donor that I have sitting here. Okay. Let's go back to 1. Let's see. Okay, so this is the one. Let me try another one quickly. So let's go into 3. Here, let's go here. All right, I'm gonna stop it. This donor is not playing nice, so I'm gonna go into well, it has all these already, so yeah, that's good enough. All right, so let's close this up, turn this off, go to our patient. Ooh, Saint one. Here, okay, so this is 4502. Okay, so whoops. Okay, so for some reason, should probably match the microcode ROM versions. Let's see. Here, let's do this from files. Try our first one again. Okay, you know what? Let's unblock service area quickly. Let's do auto detect. Okay, so that's shifted already. Let's there's 02.
Are you sure that this is the same as
Okay, so the drive is spinning up and then spinning down. Now it could be that the heads aren't fully compatible. That's possible. We know that the, let me show you guys so the current draw is good now. We know that there's no issues there, but something else is going on with this, and we have to get to the bottom of it. So all right, so let's you know what, let me try to let's do all right, so let's do some more troubleshooting with this. No, Yeah, no. We're gonna do it for free though, that's what I'm saying. Alright, let's turn this on. So these spikes on, on the 12 volt rail aren't good. It means that the head stack's trying to read the service area and trying to read the servo marks, but it can't. Just requires a little more troubleshooting. Let's quickly hit that. It also could be that this has a corrupted ROM. That is possible. You know what? Let's try to engage Big Brain here. And let me get another PCB quickly. I like this. This makes things more challenging. Let's get to the bottom of it. See what's going on. Again, it could be that it's incompatible donors, but I did check the micro jocks, so that should not be the case. I did transfer the ROM over from the original failed PCB. And maybe it has something to do with that. So I'm going to quickly put in another PCB altogether from one of my donors, and I'm going to try to see if I can get access to the service area. Let's try to rebuild the ROM manually and not read it from a shorted PCB. Maybe that maybe that has something to do with it. All right, back to SATA 1. Hit power monitor. Start it in normal mode. It's weird, I don't have any, let's see, so turn this on, and what does power monitor do? Okay, so the drive gets ready. No further activity from the head stack assembly, and putting my ear to it does not show any difference there. Let's hit auto detect there. Yeah, let's try that. This auto detect button though, it's not finding it. Oh, it did this time. Okay, so it found it. Increment. Let's try to do it normal mode. Start. Okay, so I can't read the modules there. Okay, let's try something. Auto detect there. Here. So this had the 000508S ROM version. Whereas my old patient 1 had, let's quickly compare some of these. Okay, so it's 5.3. Basically some incompatibility issue with these two PCBs, but let's see what we can try and do here. First, let's do hello. Pretty sure it's incompatible heads, but I'm gonna try a couple more things before we call it that. Yeah, so this points to incompatible heads, which is very strange. I'm gonna double check a couple more things And I'm going to put the original, the donors back into the, I guess, call it donor 1 now, because we need multiple donors or a second donor. And let's see what happens. Let's read and have it open, actually. So SATA 1, SATA 1. So this is donor 1 PCB with the ROM from the original patient PCB. I'm going to quickly, I already have a picture of this, but we can include this in the video, why not? So we're going to view the micro jogs and leave it open in this window for now. So quickly turn it off. When I originally compared the micro jogs on this, they were well within the range, right? There's no set range that people can agree on, but it's between 100 to like 200. Maybe I don't go over 200 differences, or over like a 200 difference in those numbers that you see on the screen there. So let's put that back in. So this goes in here. Quickly plug my donor, second donor, and let's do 3. See the current draw on this. Okay. So this one loads fine. Let's view the ROM information on this guy. And then compare the two. So this is, let's do Notepad. So bottom is donor. I'm sorry, bottom is patient. Missing a head here. Yeah. There you go. Whoops. What? There you go. Copy. Paste. All right. So, donors on the bottom. At the top is the patient. So that's let's go to 3. So this is actually it's the other way around. Keep mixing it up. So this is donor, patient. Yeah, I don't like the difference between these two. Thank you. So we're going to call this, let's do a little bit here. I'm going to call this patient. We're going to call this donor 2, not 1, 2. I'm just doing this visually for you guys. Normally I just obviously just do this on my own, but putting it in a notepad so that you can see. So patient microjogs, donor 2 microjogs, and now let's wait and see what donor 1 microjogs are, which are the ones that are currently in the patient. So the head stack assembly that's currently in the patient is from donor 1, and I will check what those microjogs are. I actually have a picture of it, but I mean I need to put the donor back in there anyway, so Let's turn this off. We don't need it. Luckily, I have several donors here to try. So that's donor 2. And then I have another one called D3. This is D3. D3. And D3. So let's see what the micro jogs are for D3. And then this one we can plug it in SATA 2, since I'm not using that port. You know what? Nah, let's plug it in SATA 3. Let's not mix too many of these. Yeah, but we can edit. What's up? No.
Alright, good. Remember that one, I think in 1989 from another repair shop where it was responsible?
Yes.
Alright, so it had, in fact, turned out to also be a new track pad, not just a track pad cable.
All right, so this is D3 micro jog. So this is the micro jogs from D3. Oof, wow, this is way off. This one I'm not even gonna try. This one's like way off. This one is so off that I shouldn't even be pasting it in this list. All right, donor 1 goes here. Let's take our patient, put the stuff back on there. I think this process here shows that even though the micro jogs and everything look good, it's possible to run into some issues like this. So that's why for me it's, you know, this is routine really. It's not anything. I'm not surprised. You know, this does happen in data recovery, so it's not anything to worry about. Or so it seems that the donor headstack assembly was not compatible with the patient, even though I matched the micro jogs. So let's go ahead and put the donor headstack assembly back into the donor hard disk assembly, so the donor hard drive. This is one of these cases where even if you get a close enough match of the micro jogs, you will run into some issues. So what I want to do here is, and this is routine for me actually, I want to put the donor headstack assembly back into the donor housing and just make sure that everything works. Nothing stopped working with it, because if something like that were to happen, then you'll have some sort of, I guess, platter damage or something like that. So hopefully we don't have any of that. And yeah, this hopefully was just an issue with incompatibility. Let's go ahead and put the head comb. Okay. What time is it, Orhan?
Time to say goodbye.
Okay. You know what? Since I have that open there, actually, let me quickly put... What I'm doing now is I'm getting the headstack assembly information from basically the micro jogs from donor 1. So we want donor 1's info here. gonna run it. I'm gonna run it in kernel mode. All right, so let's view the ROM information. So this is donor 1. This is donor 1's info, or micro jogs in this case. And we're gonna paste it right here. This is donor 1. I don't know. I mean, to me, donor 1 looks good, but so does donor 2. So again, it's generally within 200. I like to keep it within 50 to 100 of these numbers that you see here. These are the micro jogs, so that's what I try to generally keep it between. So patient, donor 1, donor 2, donor 3. Donor 3 is out the window, useless completely. Donor 1 and 2 are relatively close matches, with 1 being the better one, especially head 0. Let's see here. So head 1 on donor 1 doesn't look good. But head 0 on donor 2 is far off from patient 1. So let's go ahead and put everything back in donor 1. And then we'll continue our troubleshooting spree, is what I'm going to call it. Okay, I'm going to quickly inspect this under the green light, make sure no damage, and there's no damage, looks good, nice. Shaky cam. All right, back to this guy. So let's go ahead and remove it, quickly get off. All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna inspect it under the microscope, and under my microscope. I'm not gonna bother Lewis. Basically just inspecting to make sure there's no platter damage. No platter damage, thank God. On the top, let's see, top one looks pristine. Nice, everything looks clean. Man, I like my microscope much better than Lewis's. Lewis is jealous. Hopefully he won't see my microscope. Not sure if Lewis is actually using a Barlow. Barlow sucks. Those Barlow lenses, they limit the light that that's you know, being used by the lens, I guess. Let's see. So we're gonna put patient aside. All right. Take donor 1. You want to make sure it's all the way in. Okay, this is all the way in. And then this is a donor, so I don't care. I'm getting close to the platters with my fingers. Doesn't really matter. Louis probably getting bored at this point. Alright, looks good. Put some screws back in there. Even though this is the donor, we want to inspect it. Make sure that there's nothing. So yeah, this is a donor, and as you can see, this works fine, but there is some sort of debris on the platters, and I guess you just can't get rid of that right now, so not a problem. There's always going to be some sort of, I guess, debris on the platters that you just can't, get rid of, and you have to make do. You can take it through platter cleaning, but as I showed you guys, this drive actually works. There's no need to do any of that stuff. And it's a donor, so who cares about it? Let's get the head comb off. Okay, put the cover back on. And let's hook it up to PC3000. So I'm plugging it into power, SATA 3. Turn on the power monitor. See what's going on. All right, so yeah, arced nicely. Then it dropped back to its usual. And yeah, this donor one is good. There's no issues with it. Just gonna finish loading this up. All the good stuff loads there. Service area is red. Let's see the micro jogs. Yes, these micro jogs match what I had in this notepad here. So this is donor one, this is donor one, and they match obviously. Sector access there. There you go. Last sector two. First, last. And very strange actually, because this seems that this donor one that I used is incompatible, even though the numbers on paper say it is. So the micro jogs say that it is compatible with what I have there. Again, not a surprise really. It's a, I've seen this before. So let's go ahead and take donor 2 based on this notepad that I have here. That's the second best candidate. All right, so now we have donor 2 that we're going to use because donor 1 didn't work for some strange reason. Little birdie, little birdie. Gorilla, gorilla. All right, let's clean this out. This one came off without the rubber gasket. You want to make sure, put it back on. Nothing to say here really, besides sing the Gorilla song, so I'm just going to keep humming it. Gorilla, gorilla. I'm gonna put donor 2 away, bring back our patient. Alright, rubber gasket in there looks nice. Alright, clean this out a little bit. Check with the green light. Looks okay. Surface of the platter isn't the best, but it's okay. It's not the worst. Make sure that this is free to move. Okay, we're good there. Clean the cover quickly and close this up in round 2 with this guy here. All right, let's plug it into PC3000 port 1. Okay, so we're gonna try to upload.
So why'd you put the heads on this, man?
Hmm?
Why'd you
So we're gonna allow module 02 access. Okay. You can turn this off quickly, turn it back on. See what my power monitor says. My lovely, lovely power monitor. The bestest power monitor you can ask for, that a lot of people are so upset that I used. I'm gonna upload LDR. Read it from there. Yes. I'm gonna close this. Auto detect. And then start it in normal. Utility start. I'm gonna give this a hard reset. Refresh. Auto detect. Start. Auto detect again. Utility start. Sector edit. And what do you know? Switch. There you have it. It loaded up. Donor 2 was the correct donor all the time. I have sector access from sector 0 to the last sector. I'm going to finish this up just to make sure that everything is all good. So let's go back to my PC 3000, run a task. What am I doing? So SATA 1, are we in 1? Yes. To all the doubters, to all the DR pros, actually, I should say. You know, I'm not a person to take offense in these things, but the things that I read on there were really, really rude. Some of them didn't really, some of them had nothing to do with what I was doing in terms of the recovery. Let me finish this task first, before this crashes or something. All right, so. Come on, load, man. Do I have 1 terabyte here? Let's see. $57PJ. What's 57P? Oh shit, this crashed. Yo, man, our studio crashing, man. Well. Let me pause this. No. So what's 57PJ? You know what? They included their drive. I can actually use that. So this is 30461. I'm looking for a target drive right now, so you can just ignore all this shit. Hey, this is Steve calling from Rossman Repair.
Oh, hey, what's happening?
Hey man, how are you? So the Toshiba Target drive that you included with the Western Digital, can I wipe that?
Yeah.
I think it was already wiped, but I just want to make sure. Perfect. So I can wipe this drive. That's the Target.
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. Because it doesn't look like it has any data, but I just want to confirm because I'm going to be cloning straight to it.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. She said that one was cool.
Yeah, because I think she gave you an empty drive, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, man. This is looking good. I just finished the swap, actually in the middle of a video about the swap. And yeah, once it's done cloning, I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah, appreciate it.
Hi, yep. Thanks a lot, man. Bye-bye. Ah! F***ing doubters. Don't include that, by the way, please. I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just... oh! Alright, so that's my Toshiba. Where's my Toshiba? Let me close that. Alright, I have his Target drive plugged in finally. Sorry for the delay. We're gonna go to PC3000 port 1. Actually, we're gonna go back. Here, we're gonna call it. Don't show this. We're gonna refresh. Come on. We're gonna quickly build a heads map. So normally what I do in this case is if I have access to a drive like this, I don't go into the modules and try to do any testing or reading or saving or anything like that. I want to get the data right away, right? So I've tried different methods going about doing things, and really the best method is to go about and go straight for the data, in my opinion. I've used this, I've used the other method of backing up modules and stuff like that, clearing the reload list and doing all these sorts of stuff. But I don't think that's needed unless you see it when you start a data extractor task. So for me, I run, the data extractor, process that, and make sure that, I can get the data that way rather than trying to do any firmware modifications first. So data first. If I have any issues or notice any issues, then do the appropriate firmware modifications. And as you saw earlier, I had access to sector 0 and the last sector, so this is pretty much good to go. I'm actually starting the data extractor now. Want to make sure there's no encryption there quickly. So this looks like it's not encrypted. We're going to quickly go to the last sector, first sector. And now I can just simply go to the Explorer. So this is the, it's FAT32, which is weird. So if I notice any issues with this, then, oh wow, a lot of data. Obviously don't show this. And I'm going to quickly make a use sectors map. And I'm going to image only the use sectors on this partition. I don't want to stress the heads when it's not needed. No need to really do that. Strictly measure or copy the data that's needed and nothing more. I'm gonna go ahead and guess this person has a lot of data, close to, yeah. So about 700 gigs used. So I'm gonna quickly start copying this, and I'm gonna pay attention to the heads. Make sure that they're all copying smoothly. Pay attention to the transfer speed. Make sure it's good. Let's see, head 5 has some issues, so I'm gonna go ahead and disable it. No need to stress the head stack assembly here. I'm gonna let all the heads copy now, instead of just, disabling head 5. And then see and observe the behavior. Is it just a one-time hiccup, or is it several hiccups? So head 5 is slow, right? It's okay, it's not the worst, but it's slow. But I want to just disable it for now to get the data from the other heads, and then go back and clean up head 5. Interestingly enough, head 5, I don't think I had issues with on the donor, that is. So head 5 is the head that's reading the top platter though, so maybe something to keep in mind there, where the condition of the top platter wasn't in the best shape, I guess. Quickly leave it there. Let's see what head 5 does now. Okay, so not terrible reading speeds, but this is going at 80 megabytes per second. Once I enable head 5, it drops. So I'm not gonna enable it for now. I'm gonna let all the other heads clone, fully clone. Then I'm going to go back to head 5 and finish this recovery off. All right, so to recap this video and to recap the previous video, what had happened was a drive came in. It's a Western Digital 1 terabyte. It came in with a shorted PCB. So we went ahead and relieved the short on the PCB, read the ROM, replaced the head stack assembly because the head stack assembly was also bad. The original head stack assembly on the patient, even with the replacement PCB, was pulling about 1.8 or so amps. I'm going to have Lewis link it in the video there. So there was definitely something going on with the preamp, with the old patient PCB. And basically what this job needed was a new PCB and the ROM adaptives, or the micro jogs, or the ROM info, to be transferred over to the new donor PCB. And then it needed the head stack assembly to be replaced as well. So I'm going to try to condense this video into one short, I guess, video, but it's really difficult because the first donor that I used did not work. So the first donor was not compatible, even though the numbers matched. I'm going to also include some of the micro jog numbers there so that you guys can see the differences. I had to use the second donor, and that's what took a bit longer than usual. For the most part, this is still recovering, it's transferring, and it's copying at a nice speed. And this is a great outcome because the data is being transferred as we speak right now. And the, I guess, data recovery forums and the pros and whatnot, they were skeptical about this. But I have the old video and this video now that I'm going to upload to show you guys that the PCB was indeed shorted, and the head stack assembly was indeed bad. That's it for today, and as always, enjoy your day.